Keetongu. I like this dude. He has a nice vibe to him. I liked him ever since I saw him in the Bionicle movie Web of Shadows. I don't know if it was just his design, his presence, or how fun his name was to say, but he just resonated with me, you know? I also find him interesting for multiple reasons. Firstly, his legacy in Lego outside of Bionicle, and secondly, how inconsistent his fucking size is. Let's start with the legacy, shall we? In this segment, we won't really talk about his role in the lore, and more so about the set. So basically, we're talking about Keetongu the idea, not Keetongu the man. Or animal, because like his species technically counts under the biological equivalent of animals, but they're also intelligent enough to be basically sentient, so like, okay, you see why I want to talk about the lore, right? Firstly, we'll talk about his defining color, Keet Orange, or its actual name, Bright Light Orange. This color actually debuted a year before Keetongu in 2004 in some Duplo sets, but because Keetongu was the first one to use it prominently in a mainline set, the name Keetongu stuck around and is still used prominently to this day. Even after Keetongu, the color remained in usage throughout Bionicle until the end of G1. Most prominently, it was used for both versions of Toahuki as well as Matanui. The color was used beyond Bionicle in various teams as well. The most recent prominent applications of Keet Orange is the new ninja from Dragon's Rising, Eren. Speaking of which, that brings us on to the second part of Keetongu's legacy, the 2023 Ninjago set, Lloyd and Eren's Ninja Gym Max. The Singer plus Big Cat combo alone gives the set big Keetongu energy, which is even confirmed by the set's desire to be somewhat intentional, but Eren's mech being also Keet Orange really amplifies the Keetongu swagger on this set. I mean, obviously it's because Eren's color is Keet Orange, but you get my point. With Keetongu's legacy discussed, let's move on to the actual review. So, here he is. As you can see, obviously most of his color scheme is done with Keet Orange, but the color breakup is done with like a dark gray, like small accents of black, and then like a very tiny bit of red. This color scheme works honestly pretty well since like Keet Orange is like a vibrant color, but it isn't really garish, and the gray breakup is done in such a way that like it doesn't really just like burn your eyes out or something. Construction wise, he is pretty simple in the limb department and a bit more complex in the torso, which is mostly consistent of technique. Like, his limbs are basically just wacky legs, without like the feet obviously. And the legs are a bit more complex because if we just move this here, because the upper legs are like a semi more fancy construction than just a simple joint piece, even though there were longer joint pieces at the time in Bionicle. And lower leg space is just like a rashi leg with like a bit more armor here. And honestly, the most complex part about legs is the feet, which are like constructed with a bit of technique to basically give them high heels, say queen. But honestly, a simple bit for limbs is also a benefit for him, because that means the articulation isn't that hindered as it would be with like more complex construction. And it also is complex build doesn't really hinder articulation outside of maybe the weird angling on the, you know, shoulders. Like I said, the torso has a bit more complex of a construction with just lots of technique parts intertwining in different ways. That's mostly to accommodate like his weird torso shaping with like the V-formed shoulders, and also to accommodate the plate feature we will show shortly. Also obviously for the eye, because I mean that's Keetongu, like that's his main thing. Articulation wise, he isn't that special. He's good, like he does all the things you probably need for a Bionicle to do, also the head maybe, but like it isn't special. Both arms have a point of articulation at the shoulder and at the arm. Legs have obviously one of the hip and one of the knee, and then one of the on the foot. The foot articulation might be slightly compromised because of the high heel build, because of which you might not be able to like, you know, bend it that far back. Since like normally you will be able to do this, but this time you do this. But like, how often do you need to do this, you know? So yeah. And the head is honestly like the most interesting part articulation wise, since the rest is like pretty basic at the time already, you know? The problem with the head is honestly just a minor one, but as you can see, there is like this small groove in the Borg head shield piece that you saw the hat. And that basically is like the perfect spot for the eye to be. So once you move the eye a bit to mark to the side, it kind of looks awkward since the hat is in a specific lineup, you know? So basically you kind of have to limit yourself to close to the cutout for the eye placement for it to not look awkward. But outside of that, it's honestly pretty good articulation wise. He has two different play features. One is in his arm and one is, as I mentioned before, in his chest. The arm play feature is pretty simple. It's really just... The play feature on his hand is pretty simple, honestly. You just spin this thing in the back and then you can start, and then the shield starts spinning. That also makes it unlocked and have a wider area, which just functions on these few cogs just like lining up, just moving slightly while you spin it, leading to the closing and opening. Which is honestly nice because this is pretty nice for play, but this is far better for display, honestly. The other play feature is this Gotuka spinner, which basically every set in 2005 had. How you access this one is you move these pieces here upwards, and that unlocks this part here, which lets the chest open up, and with that you can lean the middle of the torso forward, insert the Rotuka ripcord, and then just, yep. You know, I should probably super glue my fucking toys to the floor if I want to record this. So this is Keetongu. Overall, I really like him, obviously. That's why I'm making the fucking video. And the design generally is pretty nice. It's pretty poseable, even though some joints are kinda annoying me right now. And the play features are pretty fun to fidget with. So next we can do size comparisons and then we can move on to, well, the issue with his fucking size. Here we have him next to Lloyd and Aaron's Ninja Max. And here he is next to the canisters of his ear. As you can see, he's a bit taller than the tower of the deer. And this is where the issues begin. Because if you look at the movie Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows, you can see he is far bigger than the tower. Not just a small difference like in the sets. But we aren't done yet, because Keetongu was supposed to appear in another set. He was intended to appear in a cancelled system set, where he was using the metal build from previous year. The issue is that, well, a metal build is fucking massive compared to a Hodika male figure. So, we have a depiction where he's a bit bigger than a Hodika, a depiction where he's far bigger than a Hodika, and a depiction where he fucking towers over the Hodika. So, what is your fucking size? But if we were to assume a canon size, it's probably the movie depiction. The movies are a depiction of the storyline, so it's safe to assume the sizes in those movies are the canon sizes of the characters. This is also backed up in the Bionicle book Time Trap, because in that book, Keetongu faces off against Magura Pterodax, who is also depicted usually being far taller than the Tower. So, I guess that's his size. The Web of Shadows size. That doesn't excuse how dumb it is. Why do I even care? So, this is the end of the video. Before I sign off, I quickly want to credit Hero and Nuva. They helped out in the Keetongu size segment by providing me with the info about the book part, as well as how the movie is probably most likely canon size for him. I have linked both his YouTube channel and Twitter in this video's description. So that's it. See you next time.